Hi guys, welcome to Homeschooling on Mama's Bed. My name is Gwinnell, and if you're new here, I'm homeschooling my 7-year-old son second grade and then my 4-year-old daughter preschool. If you could not tell, today we're going to be talking about how I incorporate Halloween into our homeschool, and I'm so excited for you to join along my broom ride. There are a few different ways that I'm excited. The last one that I did in fall was just art projects and books. Halloween has a little bit more going on, so I'm really excited to share. Number one are books, and the first book that I'm excited to share with you is Halloween in the Orchard. This is really pretty. They have lots of books in their series, and in this one in particular, they're preparing to go to a pumpkin patch with their family. It's really cute. This little boy is getting his costume ready. His parents are getting their costume ready. And then it shows their fun adventure as they go throughout the pumpkin patch. It's really cute. If you're a fan of pumpkin patches and your family loves to go, then this is the book for you guys to go through, and it's fun. There's a corn maze. There are fun scarecrows to see throughout. As I read this with my kiddos, they loved looking for the different scarecrows, which was really fun to see. And it's cute. By the very end, the little boy is really tired and they're ready to go, and they've had such a fun adventure at the pumpkin patch in the orchard, which is really cute because I've been to pumpkin patches where there's an actual pumpkin patch, and there is one here too, and also in a cornfield as well, but never in an orchard. This was new, and this is a really fun twist on a pumpkin patch. Next is How to Catch a Witch. Now, I loved this book. My daughter loved this book. The pictures are really cute. There are these kiddos that are doing everything they can to set traps to catch a witch, and it's really cute. They get really creative, but this witch is perseverant. She is not going to be caught. Every trick that they throw at her, she just outdoes them, and it's really cool to see how she perseveres, and she is tough, and she is tricky, and in the end, they never catch the witch. And my son did not like that. He's like, I don't like this book. It's called How to Catch a Witch, but you never catch a witch. So for him, it was kind of a flop. But for the rest of the family, we really enjoyed it. It was a really cute, fun book to read. Next is Too Many Pumpkins. I love this book. This is also in my fall video of how to incorporate fall into homeschool. But this is also a Halloween-y book as well, so I am double incorporating this one. There's a few that you really could do that. So this is about an older woman, and she grows seeds in her garden every single year. And one day, there's somebody driving a pumpkin truck who accidentally drops a bunch of pumpkins in her yard, and she is so upset about this. She does not like pumpkins. When she was younger, her family was pretty poor, and in pumpkin season, they had to eat a lot of it in so many ways, and she was just sick of pumpkin and promised herself she would never have pumpkins again. Well, she decides to ignore all these pumpkins that are in her garden. After a little while, you see she just ignores the front of her house because she wants nothing to do with those pumpkins. And after a little while, she finds she has a lot of pumpkins that have grown in her front yard. And she's like, what on earth am I going to do with all these pumpkins? I don't want them. So she wheelbarrows them all into her kitchen, and she decides to make some fun goodies with these. And then she realizes, oh, I still have too much. So after she's made so many goodies, she then decides to carve them. And just by having pumpkins, she doesn't even tell people. People just come to her house because everyone knows she does not like pumpkins. So then a bunch of people, just seeing them all lit, the ones that she couldn't do anything with. She has a big party at her house. Everybody comes, they enjoy the treats, and then they take the extra pumpkins that she couldn't do anything with. And she ends up liking pumpkins after all. It's a really, really cute story. Next is Berenstain Bears' Big Halloween Party. This is a cute one. I love Berenstain Bears. It's so nostalgic for me. So I actually have a couple Berenstain Bears books for the Halloween series. So in this one, they're having a big Halloween party at their house. So they are getting ready for this party. They're cleaning up, and then they're thinking through costumes that they want to have. And the parents are like, well, we're not going to be able to find those kind of costumes. So the kids say, well, will you make them for us? And mom and dad are like, okay, all right. So they get their costumes put together, and then everybody arrives, and they're having a party at the house, and it's really fun. They do all sorts of games. Here they're eating, and then they do bobbing for apples. They do a beanbag toss. They have face painting. They have pin the bone on this skeleton, and then over here they are judging each other's costume. They have a pumpkin piñata, so tons of fun games. It's really, really so lovely. At the end, they judge all the costumes, and then they go trick-or-treating, and they have a lovely time. So a really good book about a Halloween party and then trick-or-treating. The next one is also a Berenstain book. Like I said, there's 2 Berenstain Bears books, and this one is more focused on trick-or-treating. So here they're establishing their costume, and a big deal is that they are going to go trick-or-treating on their own. And Dad's a little nervous, but Mom's like, I think with some rules, you guys will be good. Don't eat candy, stay in the neighborhood, and you'll be okay. And they're going to go with their cousins and some neighbors. So Mom and Dad are like, okay, it'll be all right. So they go trick-or-treating, and they're a little bit nervous about one older lady. They think she's kind of scary. And the mom's like, don't judge a book by its cover. Like, you never know. So the kids have that. They're like, oh, okay, we're still not going to go to her house because we're afraid. So then they start going trick-or-treating with the cousins. And as they go, there's one cousin who's like, you know what? We are going to put more trick than into treat. So they decide they're going to toilet paper that older lady's home that's scary and just do a bunch of naughty things. And it's funny because she invites them in. She's like, as soon as they get to the door, and all the other rest of them are like, I don't really want to do that. But as soon as they go up to the door, the older lady says, come on in. And she actually has candy apples for everybody. And that's when the little kids realize, wait, she's a lot nicer than we thought. So then they get home and they tell their dad, and they're like, we went to this lady's house. And he's like, what, that crotchety old lady? And the little sister's like, Dad, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. People are a lot nicer than they might seem. So it's a really cute book about not judging a book by its cover and just giving people grace. It's a really, really cute story. Next is The Littlest Mummy. I really love this. I actually bought this for my son a few years ago when he was in preschool, and they do those book drives with Scholastic, and so we bought a few, and this was one of them. So we've had it for a while, and we love it. It's about this little girl who is trying to fit in. Her family is they're all mummies, and they're going to do a mummy dance. And she's a little worried because she's not as scary as everybody. Her white strips don't fit as well, so she goes to each sibling to kind of teach her how to fit in, and every one of them is like, looks like you're not the best in this area. Go ask this family member. And so she gets kind of sent from family member to family member. And she finally decides, you know what? I'm just not going to do the family mummy dance. But when she gets there, she finds a witch. And the witch has a similar problem. She's like, I don't fit in so well with my family. So they become really good friends. So then the family does their mummy dance, and after the mummy dance is over, it kind of becomes awkward at the party. There's music, but nobody's dancing or anything. And the little mummy girl says, you know what, I have an idea. She takes her friend's broomstick and says, why don't we play limbo? And it ends up being really fun and engages the crowd together. And she kind of saves the day, and she finds, I may not have the same gifts as everyone else in my family, but I have my own talents. And it's just a great lesson about how every person in the family is special. They don't have to have the same gifts and, the same talents, but everybody contributes and everybody makes a difference. Next is Corduroy's Best Halloween Ever. This is a really cute book. This is about Corduroy and how he and his friends are preparing for a Halloween party. First, they're going to a pumpkin patch to pick the best one to carve that night at his party. Then they're raking up leaves. Then they go and help a woman decorate the windows of her storefront, and she gives them some pie. And once they're eating that pie, they start talking about what everybody wants to be for Halloween. So Mouse wants to be a pumpkin, Rabbit wants to be a lion, Puppy says their costume is a secret, and Corduroy is worried because he doesn't know what he wants to be for Halloween. So he goes to a Halloween store and he thinks and he looks through all the costumes, but he can't find anything that his friends already haven't said that they wanted to be. So he's thinking and thinking, and finally he finds a dinosaur hat. And he says, well, there isn't a costume that goes with this, but I could actually make a dinosaur costume. So he makes a beautiful costume. And then his friend Dog, who comes, who said they had a surprise costume, it falls apart and it's not working. And they come to Corduroy and he says, don't worry, you can wear my costume. What a sweet thing to do. What a good example for our kiddos. So Corduroy gives away his costume, and Dog says, well, what about your costume? And Corduroy is like, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. So the party goes on and they're playing lots of fun games and eating lots of good food and having fun. And it comes time to go trick-or-treating. And Corduroy says, why don't I take this tablecloth and I'll just make a ghost out of it. So then he decides to go as a ghost, and the problem is solved, and they go trick-or-treating and they have tons of fun. So cute book. Hope you give this one a try. Okay, next we have The Night Before Halloween. It's a really cute book. It's about these monsters that are preparing for trick-or-treaters to come. It's just one house and they're all in it, and they're preparing fun things throughout the house to, in a cutesy way, scare the kiddos. And meanwhile, all the kiddos are sleeping the night before, and they're so excited for the festivities of the next day. So the next day, they're getting ready in their costumes, they're bobbing for apples, they're playing fun games, they're eating yummy food at their Halloween party, and then they're getting ready to go trick-or-treating. As they go trick-or-treating, they go from house to house. Then they realize they just have one more house to go. So then they're going to this house, the monster's house. And as they go up, they shortly realize that they're not pretend monsters. These aren't parents in costumes. This was a real witch, and they get terrified and they are running away. And the witch says, oh no, but wait, we were really excited for you guys to come and trick or treat here, and we have all these fun things planned for you. So then the kids say, okay, we'll give you a shot. And then they play and they have really fun, and then that's it. It's just really cute. It's a fun twist on a Halloween story. The next book is Franklin's Halloween. Now, the Franklin series is really nostalgic for me as well. I read a lot of these books as a kid, so I love to pass that on to my kiddos. This is a really fun one. Franklin is brainstorming Halloween costumes while he's at school, and they're each talking about what their costumes are going to be. He's still a little bit unsure, and they're all talking about who's going to be scared and who's not going to be scared. He's like, I'm not going to get scared. And then he finally decides to be Frankenstein. Frankenstein, get it? That was a cute thing the author did there. So he goes to this party, and it's with the whole town. His parents and him go together, and all his friends and their parents are there, and they're doing fun games and fun activities. And he's trying to see if he can find his friends. He thinks Bear is a ghost because his friend Bear is always a ghost, and so he just assumes. And he's like, oh, I think you're this person, and I think you're this, and I think you're this. And so near the end, they're going into a cute little haunted house, and who he thinks is a ghost is Bear, ends up flying away. And so he says, oh my goodness, who is Bear then? And he's a little bit scared, actually. And then a feather drops from the ghost, and he's like, oh, our teacher Owl, that's who is the ghost. And it's fun. They end up finding who is who and who dressed as what. And at the very end, he's walking home with his parents, and they're like, ooh, not too much candy. It's a really cute story. I hope you give this one a try as well. Next is Pete the Cat, Five Little Pumpkins. This is a cute little rhyming book. If you've ever heard the song Five Little Pumpkins, this was running through my head the entire time I was reading it. It's really cute. It's just, you'll have to look at the song. I'm not going to sing it here, but it's cute. It's a little rhyme with pumpkins and Pete the Cat, and they're adventuring and going trick-or-treating. So it's a very simple, very young book. I mean, this wasn't one that my 7-year-old son was super excited to read, but my 4-year-old daughter was more interested in this one. The next book that I want to show you is Five Black Cats. This book has gone through a lot. This is my daughter's favorite book of all time. Doesn't matter what time of year this is, she's always read it. So it's torn a little bit. This is our own book. This is not a library book. But I have to have it on here because it really is so cute and it really is that good. So again, this is ripped. It's fine. It's fine. It's about 5 black cats and their cute journey finding a pumpkin patch, and it's talking about how they get there. This is a board book, but it is really cute. They've got a really sweet journey. They find these pumpkins, and then they get led to this cute haunted house, and they go through the door, and this is the entrance of the house, and then there's these creepy stairs. Now, this is a kid's book, so it's not that creepy. And then it takes them through a haunted hallway, and then they find a monster party. And I have to tell you, my daughter actually wanted to base her Halloween celebration based off this because she loves this page so much. All the cookies and the cupcakes and the cake and the candy and the treats. So it's a really cute book. Don't mind the fact that mine is just very worn and very loved, but I highly recommend 5 Black Cats. It's still a favorite after 4 years. Next book is 5 Little Monkeys. If you have not read the 5 Little Monkeys, it's a really cute series. It's based off the 5 Little Monkeys jumping on the bed. And so they adapt this for Halloween. A mama has 5 little monkeys and they're going trick-or-treating, and they have a babysitter taking them, and they decide to play a little trick. They have some other friends they're going with, 5 to be exact, and they all swap costumes, and they think that the babysitter does not know this. Well, the babysitter does, and near the end, the babysitter says, okay, it's time to get going. I need to take my 5 kiddos back to mama. And it's really cute because then those 5 end up going home and they realize, oh no, we're not the right ones. We need to switch. And so the babysitter's like, yes, we know. And so they swap, and it's really cute. The other kiddos come and they swap, and they're super happy to be home again. So they learn to be careful with the tricks that you play when you're trick-or-treating. It's a really, really cute book. Lastly is another book we've had for a while. It is called My First Halloween Bedtime Story. And so this is kind of like one of the 5-minute series, but taking it to the Halloween edition. And this is really cute. We've had this one for a while as well, and it is worn and torn. So I'll show this up right here really quickly and then just read the different ones that they have. They have Mickey Mouse, they have Peter Pan, Wreck-It Ralph, Monsters, Inc., Winnie the Pooh, and Princess and the Frog. And these are just really cute stories. There's quite a bit, so I'm not necessarily going to go over every single one, but just to give a little bit of a flip through, they're really cute. This is the Peter Pan one. And Wreck-It Ralph. It's just a Halloween twist. I mean, you know Disney stories with a Halloween twist, so it's really cute. I really recommend it. These are really fun. So hope you give these books a try. These were really fun. My family really loved them. There are so many more. That's just what we've dabbled in with our library. It's just a little tricky. I do have a few more books from our library, but we can only have 5 holiday books at a time. So it does make it tricky to have enough books at Halloween time. So we're just slowly building up our favorites collection, figuring out what we like, what we don't like, and then adding a list of ones that we eventually want to buy, just to make it easier to have access to them during the Halloween time when we want them. So that was number one thing that we like to do for incorporating Halloween into our homeschool. The second way my family is incorporating Halloween into homeschool is through art projects. Now, if you've seen this binder in my incorporating homeschooling into fall video, you know that we had some fun craft ideas here from Pinterest. And here are my Halloween ones on this page. So this is still fall. So here are some Halloween ideas. And what I did here is I just found my favorite ideas on Pinterest, copied and pasted it onto Word, and then I printed it out. And this page as well is another example. And this way, I don't have to do a lot of stressing when it comes to art and craft projects. I can just say, hey kiddos, will you look at the binder and tell me what ideas you want for fall or Halloween or 4th of July or whatever holiday it is. I just have these pre-made so that it's easier. They're not scrolling on my phone, finding a bunch of ideas that maybe I don't have the bandwidth to make. So these are ideas that I like, okay? These are not ideas that are too complicated or too difficult. These are fun, these are fast, these are easy, and ones that have a prep time I'm willing to commit to. So we haven't had a ton of time thus far to do them, but we are going to have a Halloween party soon, which I'm going to talk about. It's our number 3 thing. So stay tuned for that. We are going to do some then, and then we'll do a couple more throughout the fall season. So we've been getting back into homeschooling and such. It's been pretty busy. We've had my sister here from Switzerland for 2 weeks, and then coming back from a 2-week break. If you know, it's not the easiest thing coming back from a long break. Summer vacation, I mean, it's understandable. It's been a few months, but just a holiday break, it can be really tricky. So we're just slowly getting back into the swing of things. My son's focus is kind of everywhere as he's really trying. I mean, this is week 2, but we're still just trying to get back into the swing of things. So we didn't do an art project last week, which was supposed to be a Halloween one. Friday ended up being more of a break day more than anything. And we were sick. We had a lot going on still for the weekend and a lot of things. My husband and I were going to be going out of town on just like a couple date weekend. And that didn't end up happening because of all these sicknesses and all these things going on. So it was crazy. I just don't feel like we've had really, I mean, we had a vacation, but it was not a restful vacation. It was just a busy go, 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 go. And now we're just getting into the swing of things. So next Halloween, we'll definitely have a lot more art projects under our belt by this point. And that's okay. You know, it's just being adaptable and rolling with the punches. Every year is going to look different. Every season is going to look different. And just your season of life. What stage are you in? How many kids do you have? What's going on? You know, like it's okay not to do any art projects, to be honest, in any season. And so for us, like when we can, we do them. And if we can't, we don't. Art is definitely important to my family, but we fit it in as much as we can and no more. And that's a really important theme for my family in our homeschool. So number 2 was art. So number 3, as I kind of hinted at before, is a Halloween party. We'll have some friends over. We'll do some fun games. We might sneak in an art project. If it works out, we'll have some yummy dinner and dessert, and then we'll go trick-or-treating. That's going to be a really big one. Number 4 was pre-trick-or-treating. If you watched my previous video, which was how to incorporate homeschool into vacations, because my sister was here visiting, her sons can never be here in America for Halloween just because of the way vacations and school breaks work and time off from school outside of sick days. They just get fined. Most states in Switzerland, you can't just take off anytime you want. You really do need to go take a holiday with your family on an actual holiday break. So that being said, my nephews can never be here for actual trick-or-treating. So I arranged with some neighbors a Halloween trick-or-treating time, and it was really, really fun. The boys loved it. My kiddos loved it. It was such a fun time. Then we'll go trick-or-treating again. That's a pretty obvious way. You know, it's a fun field trip. People don't always realize that things like this are homeschool, because when you go and you trick-or-treat, you're knocking on the door, you're practicing your eye contact, you're practicing social skills. You say trick-or-treat, and then in response, they give you candy and you say, thank you so much. Those kinds of things you would think would be so simple, but for kids, still my 7-year-old has a hard time remembering. When they open the door, you say trick-or-treat and you say thank you. You make eye contact. You know, it's really important. These are people. You're not just going to collect candy. You're going and you're having a conversation, and there's etiquette there that goes into this. So these are important social skills. So I absolutely count trick-or-treating as a field trip, and B, homeschooling for sure. Way number 5 has been pumpkin patches. Now you'll notice I had quite a few books on my Halloween book roster list. with pumpkin patches, and that's no accident. My family loves pumpkin patches. Locally, we have an amazing one. If you haven't checked out my Instagram reel on it, go check it out. We've actually gone twice. Once with my sister while she was in town, and my other sister who lives locally, and their kiddos, all of our kiddos together. And then there's a homeschooling program that I participate in, and you do get funding for it. You do have to submit work that your kids do, and you do have to submit receipts to get things reimbursed. And then you've got to do a little bit of testing, but I find it pretty worth it. It's so nice to have a little extra cash for homeschooling because things add up. It helps me to purchase curricula that I might not have purchased normally because it was really expensive. So I was able to make more value-based decisions than worrying about money, which was really nice. We live in a time where finances can be tight for anybody and everybody. So it was really lovely to be able to use that finances. And with that, they also have, I think, their monthly field trips. They had one where they were paying for anybody who's enrolled in the homeschooling, who's in technically kindergarten through 12th grade. And then I got to go in for free as well. And then my daughter wasn't 4 yet, so she got to go for free. So we all went to a really pricey pumpkin patch for free, which was so amazing. If you don't have any sort of homeschooling funding by your state or by local programs, look into things. They always have homeschool pricing too. So the first time that I went with my two sisters and our kiddos, we actually went on a day which was a cheaper day. So it was like a Tuesday, it was cheaper. So it was $12 a person, which was pretty cheap. And then if you were 3, which my daughter was 3, she got it for free. And then it was just my son and me that we paid $12 for. So $24 when it's normally, I think, like at least $20 a person. Not a bad deal. And as you get closer to Halloween, it's more expensive. So I think it's really important for me to share like deals and stuff like that because sharing the knowledge is so helpful. I love it. I found out about a lot of this because my sister told me, or I had friends who told me certain things, and I always want to share that with you guys because I want you guys to have that knowledge too. So if you can find homeschooling programs, if your state has homeschool backed paid programs, go for it. If you can, participate in them. They make such a difference. And it's made it possible for my family to go to a beautiful but expensive pumpkin patch twice. And they're so much fun. So I talked about the mini. Now let's talk about the actual pumpkin patch. It was so much fun, to be completely honest. They had this really fun pit of dry corn that was like a little bit like chalky. I don't know, probably to prevent bugs from coming in. It was fun. It was like a big pit of dry corn and it was like sand. It was almost like a beach. I think they called it the Corn Cob Beach and it was really fun. There was a really, really big blow up dragon and it was like you go through the mouth and it's like you're going through the heart and it's dark and it's like this, it's kind of like a maze but not, you just go through a path and it's really fun, but it's dark and so it's kind of a little bit spooky but it's not scary. And they have very dim like strobe-esque lights that are not flashing but it's just dim, like purple and dark blue lights. So it was really fun to go through. Then they have a really tall slide, they have a pumpkin patch, of course it's a pumpkin patch. They had a corn maze, they had so many fun things. They had a ropes course. This was such an amazing pumpkin patch. So find what you have close to you. If you have an orchard, if you have a cornfield, if you have a corn maze, like there's all sorts of things that you can do this time of year. I've gone to corn mazes and it's been so much fun. And that's all you do is a corn maze and they've got like apple cider and donuts. And by the way, this place was no different. They had homemade cider and they had homemade apple cider donuts, which was amazing. So good. Kettle corn, that kind of stuff. So this is the season, fun things. But there are so many other things that you could do for your family. There are so many activities going on. There's trunk or treat kinds of activities. The trunk or treats are pretty popular where I'm at. I don't know if they're popular for you where you are, but there's just so many Halloween activities. I bet there's things that your city is putting on, your library. So look into what you have available close to you and you'll be surprised. There's more than you might think. So look into what you have, at least a 20 to 30 mile radius. Everywhere is different, right? Like if you're in California, that might be tricky. That might be really far because of traffic to go 20 to 30 miles. But wherever you are, find what you have and just make the most of this Halloween season. What I said today is definitely not a comprehensive list. There's so much more you can do for Halloween. And next year, I'll probably have a bigger list when I redo this video in a year from now. And I'll have more experience under my belt. And so if there are things that you do that I didn't list, please comment below. Please tell me what you're doing for Halloween. I love it. And tell me what books you're reading. Tell me what activities you're doing. What do you guys do for Halloween parties? I'm still in the planning phases of my Halloween party, but I will share some ideas from it. I probably won't do a reel because it will include my friends' kids, and I try to be really careful about the kids that I'm including on social media. In fact, I'm very selective about who can follow me. Everybody who follows me on social media, I look because it's like an influencer account, it has to be public, but I look at everybody and I screen them and I block anybody who I think is sketchy. And there are people who are sketchy or like bot accounts or just like, people who create an account and have like posted 10 to 15 pictures on the same day or over a couple of days, and there's no like posts or anything. It's just all these like pictures. I block them immediately because these are kids. So I probably won't have a reel about the Halloween party unless I get permission from the parents to post that with their kids in it. But I will post pictures and ideas of the Halloween party on my Instagram. So stay tuned for that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to how my family incorporates Halloween to Thanksgiving. Again, so excited to hear about what you guys are doing. Comment below. And until next time, bye-bye, guys. Happy Halloween.